And good morning, everybody. Here are your notes for IXL.com, Algebra 1, Module BB.3. And it's going to be on completing a function table, so an input-output table. So if you have some function, call it f of x. And then you're going to need some sort of rule to generate the output. So for example, you might have f of x is equal to 3x. And if you want to do a quick input-output table, x will be the input and f of x will be the output. So for example, if I said I wanted to put in a 1 and a 2, then the first input, f of 1, this is basically going in for x. So everywhere you see an x, you want to put in the number 1 for the input. So f of 1 in this case would be 3 times 1, and 3 times 1 is 3, so that's your output. And the next input in the table is 2, so you want to evaluate f of 2. And what's the rule for f? It's 3 times whatever x is, so 3 times 2. So again, these are just your x values. That's your input. So f of 2 is equal to 3 times 2, which in this case is 6. And that's pretty much all we're going to be doing in this IXL.com module. So it's just filling in an input-output table. And here's our first example in IXL.com. So we have a quadratic r squared minus 5r. And we're just going to substitute in the input values and do the arithmetic and see what the output values are. So the first one is going to be 2, so it's going to be f of 2 equals, and everywhere you see an r, you want to put the input of 2. So notice there's an r here, and there's also an r here, so you're just going to put in the number 2. So that's going to be 2 squared minus 5r, and r is 2 in this case. And then we want to go ahead and work that out. So 2 squared should get you 4, minus 5 times 2 is 10, and 4 minus 10 should be negative 6. So your output for that first input of 2 is going to be negative 6. So negative 6 is going to go right here in the answer box. So that's going to be negative 6. And let's go ahead and do the next input, which is 3. So f of 3 is going to be 3 squared minus 5 times 3. And then evaluate. So 3 squared should get you 9, minus 15. And 9 minus 15 should get you negative 6. So what this statement is saying is the value of function f at 3 is equal to 6, negative 6. So this is your output, negative 6. And this was your input, 3. So we're going to put negative 6 into the answer box. And we had negative 6 from the last one. It is okay to get the same output. So you can get the same output if you have a different input for some functions. And let's do the next input. So the next one is going to be 4. So we'll say f of an input of 4 is equal to 4 squared minus 5 times 4. 4 squared should get us 16, minus 5 times 4 is 20. 16 minus 20 should get you negative 4. So the value of the function f at 4 has a value of negative 4, so that's going to be your output. And one more input, which is going to be 5 for the last one. So we'll do f of 5 equals 5 squared minus 5 times 5. And 5 squared is 25, minus 5 times 5 is 25. So we will get a final value of 0. So f of 5 has an output of 0. And that should be your completed function table. And here's another one. For these ones, you do have to watch out. The biggest thing you're going to have to watch out for in this module is when you have a negative input, because you're going to be squaring a negative. So for this one, it's going to be f of negative 2 is the input. So it's going to be 2, and then put the number in parentheses so you can remember that you're squaring a negative. So it's negative 2 squared. So when you do a negative 2 squared, negative 2 times negative 2 is going to make it positive 4. So you get 2 times 4. And then 2 times 4 should get you 8. So an input of negative 2 will get you an output of 8. So we'll put 8 right here. And the next one is a negative 1. So f of negative 1 is equal to 2 negative 1 squared. So z is negative 1, and z is getting squared. So negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. And 2 times the positive 1 is 2. So that's going to be your output for that one. And then we're going to put in a 0. So we put in the negative 1. Now the next one is 0. So f of 0 is 2 times 0 squared. 0 squared is 0 times 0, which is 0. And then 2 times 0 is 0. So f of 0, an input of 0, gets you an output of 0. So we have an ordered pair 0, 0. And the last one is f of 1, which is 2 times 1 squared. And 1 times 1 is 1. So 1 times the 2. So f of 1 is going to be 2. And that should be our completed function table. So for this whole module, probably the most likely place you are going to make a mistake is when you have those negative numbers. You just need to remember that you're going to be squaring them. So a negative times a negative is going to make a positive. And let's go ahead and do one more. So here's our rule for f on this one. So we have function f, and this is the rule that's going to tell us how to find the output. So the first one, we have an input of negative 7. So negative 7 will go into the function. So we have 2. Negative 7 will get squared plus 1. Negative 7 times negative 7 should be 49. And 49 times 2 should get you 98. So this was 2. This was 49. 2 times 49 should be 98, plus 1 more is 99. So f of negative 7 is 99. And let's do the negative 6. So f of negative 6 is going to be 2. Negative 6 will be squared plus 1. Negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. And 36 times 2 should be 72. Plus 1 more is 73. And the next input, negative 5. So it's going to be 2, negative 5 squared plus 1. Negative 5 times negative 5 is 25, so we have 2 times 25 plus 1. 25 times 2 is 50, plus 1 more is 51. So we have an output of 51. And the last one is negative 4. So 2 times negative 4 squared plus 1. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. Plus 1 more is 33. Don't forget to follow your order of operations on these. I guess that would be another place you could go wrong. Remember, order of operations was PEMDAS. So that is why we're always doing the exponents first. So you want to make sure you're doing this first, and then you're going to multiply it by the 2, and then add 1 after. So definitely make sure you're following those order of operations. And those are the examples for this module. They're pretty much all the same. It's just you have a particular function or a rule. You're going to put in some certain input values and see what the output values are.